Hey, 3, 2, 1, Smash here. Today we're going to talk about the title species of the Metroid franchise and try and make a cool and creative moveset for them in Smash 4. Let's go. Like the Metroids of the original games, the Metroids of Smash will need to feast on the energy of the other players to survive. This unique gameplay mechanic will give them a new and interesting playstyle different from any other character on the roster. When the Metroid absorbs energy, the Metroid will grow and become heavier, thus allowing it to survive longer, just like in its actual games. While in a heavier state, the Metroid's speed will drastically decrease, their attacks will have more knockback and lag, and their jump will be lower and less floaty than the smaller, more combo-focused Metroid, effectively changing the way the character is played depending on its current size. There are 5 stages in Metroid's growth, the largest dying at percent similar to Charizard, while the smallest dies closer to a percent of Jigglypuff. The other 3 stages gradually grow from a Jigglypuff percent to a Charizard percent. If the Metroid does not constantly feed, it will begin to shrink. If the Metroid gets hit hard enough, it will begin to shrink. All of the Metroid's special moves will affect the Metroid's size and percentage. For example, the Metroid Side B will be a lunge that ends in a bite that will absorb 5% of the health in its smallest form, and 1% health in the larger form. As the Metroid gets bigger, the move becomes slower, does more damage, and the lunge's length is reduced. The Up Special will launch up and bite, absorbing 2% in its smallest form and 1% in its larger form. The Up B will act similar to Captain Falcon's Up B, grabbing and throwing, while doing a decent amount of damage. As the Metroid gets bigger, the move begins to take longer to start up, but the distance it rises remains the same. The height of this move is constant because, as the creature gets heavier, it will rely on the move more to recover, due to its heavier and lower jumps. The Down Special will ooze a deadly slime to both sides, dealing a fair amount of damage while stunning the opponent. In exchange for the ooze, the Metroid will shrink and deal 7% damage to itself. The Regular Special would be a relatively strong bite that can break shields and does the most percent absorption at 7% in its smallest form and 4% in its largest form. The drawback of this move is it has a small hitbox, slightly larger than Jigglypuff's Down B. As for the Metroid's regular attacks, they would all be variations on tackles and bites, scratches, and a rotating saw-like effect. None of these moves would absorb energy and simply do damage. Its up aerial could have the Metroid flip inside out and stab directly upwards with its claws. Its down aerial could act like a drill, hitting multiple times, and if it's sweet spots, it'll spike. Its front aerial could be a simple body tackle, and its back aerial could be a stab with its claws. Its down tilt could have the Metroid press itself to the ground and spin like a saw. Its up tilt would be similar to its aerial, flipping inside out and stabbing directly upwards with its claws. Its forward tilt would poke forward with its claws, and its jab would be a rapid spin drill. Its smash attacks would be very similar to its tilts, except they'd be stronger and chargeable. Alright, now that we've talked about the movesets, let's talk about some of the benefits and drawbacks the different sizes would come with. While in its smaller states, the Metroid's low knockback would make it great for combos, and its multi-jumps and floatiness make the small Metroid a beast in the air. The biggest drawback the small Metroid has is that it's hard to finish off its opponents because all its smash attacks have a really low knockback. And because the Metroid is so light, it is killed extremely early. The Metroid's strengths and weaknesses basically flip-flop once it gets to its largest state. When in its largest state, the Metroid's multi-jump become more like Charizard's, limiting its fighting ability in the air and its ability to recover off stage. While the Metroid is no longer combo-based, if the Metroid can land a smash attack, it'll be devastating to its opponents. But if it misses, the lagginess of its hits put it in a weak spot. This is only amplified by the Metroid's hurtbox being larger than the smaller Metroids, making it an easier target to hit. But the larger Metroid can survive much longer than the smaller Metroid, allowing it to take more hits. While the speed and agility of the smaller Metroid make its playstyle very aggressive, The slow nature of the bigger Metroid makes it a more defensive playstyle. While in its mid-states, the Metroid is more well-rounded, but it loses a lot of combo potential and cannot kill nearly as early as its larger states. The overall playstyle of the character will have the player shift back and forth between heavy and light throughout the battle, using various specials to heal and slightly grow, or hurt itself and shrink. And before I'm told that this character is OP, there are a lot of ways to take advantage of the Metroid's weaknesses that lessen the strengths of the Metroid. Because the Metroid has no projectiles, the Metroid is weak against characters with good projectiles. Plus, simply shielding at the right time prevents the Metroid from absorbing health and keeps the Metroid in its current state. And lastly, even if the Metroid gets to its largest state, the Metroid cannot simply camp and wait for its opponents to get close to it so it can get early kills. The Metroid is forced to chase its opponent, or risk shrinking and getting lighter due to time. Well, that's my ideas for the Metroid character. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you liked it, please like, subscribe, and vote for this idea in the Smash ballot. If you guys have any questions or ideas, please leave them in the comments and I'll do my best to get back to you. Well, thanks for watching, and have an awesome day.